What do you do when someone insults you to your face? When they say something so cruel, so intentionally unfair, that your chest immediately tightens, your blood runs hot, and your survival instinct screams at you to fight back? Most people believe that to win, you must scream louder. You must defend your dignity. You must destroy them back. And if you stay silent, you lose. You are weak. But Eastern philosophy reveals a hidden law of human psychology that turns this entire concept upside down. There's a way to completely disarm an attacker without raising your voice, without arguing, and without saying a single word. There's a way to make their venom bounce right back and crush their own ego, leaving you entirely untouched. It is not weakness. It is the ultimate form of emotional warfare. Today, let us explore a powerful, ancient Buddhist story about a man who tried to publicly humiliate the Buddha. The silent response he received is a masterclass in psychological mastery. It will change the way you deal with toxic people forever. Over 2,000 years ago, as the Buddha sat under the shade of a great tree, sharing his wisdom with his followers, an arrogant and furious man marched into the assembly. This man was deeply envious of the Buddha's spotless reputation. He hated that no matter what happened in the world, the Buddha remained in absolute, unshakable peace. To the angry man, this peace was a challenge. He wanted to break it. He wanted to prove to everyone that this enlightened master was just a fraud who would snap under pressure. Standing right in front of the Buddha, the man began to shout. He unleashed a torrent of abuse. He called the Buddha a hypocrite, a coward, and an ignorant fool. He brought up every deeply insulting word he could think of, spitting words of pure venom in front of the entire crowd. The disciples grew incredibly tense. Their jaws clenched, and their fists tightened. They looked at the Buddha, silently begging for permission to throw this man out, or waiting for the Buddha to strike him down with words of divine power. But the Buddha did absolutely nothing. He didn't blink. He didn't frown. He didn't even shift his posture. He simply sat there, looking directly at the shouting man with eyes full of a deep, calm, and unsettling compassion. The man cursed and screamed for over an hour, but his rage found absolutely no target. It was like throwing handfuls of mud into a vast open ocean. The ocean simply absorbed it, remaining completely blue and still. Finally, drained of energy and utterly humiliated by the Buddha's silence, the man stopped. He stood there, panting heavily, looking around at the silent crowd. Confused and desperate, he demanded, "Why don't you fight back? Are you too afraid to answer me? Do you have no dignity?" The Buddha calmly and slowly opened his eyes. He looked at the exhausted man and asked a simple, gentle question. "My friend, if you buy a gift for someone, and that person chooses not to accept it, who does the gift belong to?" The man looked baffled by the question, but answered arrogantly, "It belongs to me, of course. I bought it with my own money, so it's mine until they take it." The Buddha smiled softly, nodded, and replied, "Exactly. These insults, taunts, and curses you have brought today are just like that gift. If I choose not to accept them, they do not belong to me. They remain with you. You are the only one carrying the poison." The man froze. The Buddha's words hit him harder than any physical blow ever could. He realized the absolute futility of his actions. He had spent his vital energy, his time, and his emotion trying to burn someone else, only to realize he was the one holding the fire. He had only succeeded in consuming himself alive. This is the ultimate secret of emotional mastery. When a toxic person attacks you, criticizes you unfairly, or tries to drag your name through the mud, they are offering you a gift of poison. If you get angry, if you argue, if you stay up at night thinking about them, you have accepted the gift. You have taken their trash and placed it inside your own heart. You think you are fighting them, but in reality, you are voluntarily drinking the poison they prepared for you. But if you understand this story, you realize you have a superpower, the power of refusal. Their words are just vibrations in the air. They have no power to hurt your dignity unless you give them permission. Why give a toxic person the power to dictate your mood? Why let a broken soul decide whether your day is good or bad? Let them scream. Let them judge. Walk away with a smile, knowing that their malice remains theirs to carry. But let us look deeper into the game of this illusion. Why is it so incredibly difficult to reject this poison? Why, when someone insults us, do we feel an almost addictive urge to instantly throw ourselves into the mud and fight back? The answer lies in the hidden trap of your own ego. The ego thrives on conflict. It feeds on being right. It demands validation and deeply fears rejection. When someone criticizes you, your ego perceives it as a mortal threat to its very identity. It whispers into your ear, if you stay silent, they win. If you don't fight back, you are a coward. And so, to protect that fake, fragile identity, you bend down and pick up the burning coal. You voluntarily swallow the poison. You turn yourself into a co-conspirator in the destruction of your own soul's peace, all to satisfy a temporary burst of vanity. In the school of Zen, true strength is defined by an entirely different paradigm. It is not the power of resistance, but the supreme power of emptiness. When the Buddha looked at the screaming man, he did not see an enemy to conquer or humiliate. He saw a man whose internal house was catching fire, desperately trying to throw the flames at someone else just to relieve his own burning agony. The Buddha's silence was not a cowardly escape. It was an act of absolute sovereignty over his own mind. By remaining entirely empty like the void, he created a psychological vacuum. An insult requires two conditions to exist and inflict damage: someone to throw it and someone to catch it. If you absolutely refuse to reach out your hand and catch it, the insult does not vanish into thin air. It loses its momentum, rebounds with its original velocity, and suffocates the very person who created it. You see, you do not need to waste your energy trying to punish a toxic person. Their own rage is their prison. Their own bitterness and envy are the executioners torturing them day and night. Your only job is to remain empty, to be the vast, silent ocean that absorbs the mud, letting it sink to the dark bottom while leaving your surface perfectly still, reflecting the world like a flawless mirror. Therefore, engrave this ultimate conclusion from ancient wisdom deep into your chaotic modern life. The next time someone intentionally crashes into you and tries to drag you into their emotional wreckage, remember this clearly. You have no obligation to sign and accept every toxic package delivered to your door. You are not forced to participate in every argument you are invited to. You have the absolute right to refuse. Don't pick up their trash. When you choose silence and walk away with a calm smile, it is absolutely not a sign of weakness or submission. It is the manifestation of a supreme, unyielding inner strength. That action acts as a roaring declaration to this universe that your inner peace is a treasure far too expensive to ever be bought by the cheap insults of others. Keep your hands clean from the dirt they try to smear on you. Keep your mind completely empty of their resentment, and keep your soul in a state of perfect stillness. Let them keep their own toxic gifts and leave them to drown and tear themselves apart in their own bitterness and isolation. Master your silence, stand tall, walk away, and own your peace. May you find stillness and absolute freedom on your journey.